Hey there. So today we're going to talk about multi-factor authentication, and hopefully you're going to find this entertaining or useful or beneficial. So let's get into it. Multi-factor authentication. This is authentication or proving who you are using multiple factors. And before we get into what the factors of authentication are, let me give you a little bit of background and throw another security acronym at you, and that is AAA, AAA. AAA in security terms is authentication, authorization, and accounting, right? So when we're talking about access controls, we're talking about AAA. So authentication, that is, as I said, proving who you claim to be. Authorization is ensuring that you have the correct permissions to access whatever resource you're trying to access. And accounting is just a record of what you've done when you've accessed that resource. So let's use the example of logging into, say, your Gmail in a web browser. You open up your web browser, you go to gmail.com, and it's going to ask you for the username. That's the identification of who you are. And then the password field, well, that's the authentication, right? It's asking for the password. Now, if you're logging in using just a username and password, that is one factor of authentication. That's the one factor is the password. That is something that you know, and that's it. Now, if you have multi-factor authentication, you're going to get another prompt saying, hey, I don't recognize who you are. This is the first time you've logged on this device, whatever it happens to be. It's going to say, hey, give me, for example, in Gmail, it'll say, give me the Google Authenticator code that should be up right now. And you'll need to go to your phone, like here, and pull up your authentication app and look at the current code and give it to it. All right. That's now a second factor of authentication. Something that you have, the Authenticator application running on your phone, gives you the code that you can put in, and now you've got the two factors of authentication. So multi-factor authentication just improves security dramatically, and it's really something that you should be using. Now, there are multiple factors of authentication. I like the Cisco definition of factors, so I'm going to explain those ones. There's authentication by knowledge, which is meaning that you are proving who you are based on something that you know. And that's typically password or PIN, for example. There's authentication by possession, and that is typically something like a YubiKey or a swipe badge or authentication app on your phone, something that you have in your physical possession. And then there's authentication by characteristic. And that can include a whole host of things like biometrics, your iris scan, your thumbprint. It could be your login location, could be the login time, could be the way you sign your name or something. Lots of different things that can fall under characteristic, right? And I like that sort of more distinct three items that Cisco has. If you've taken the CompTIA Security Plus certification, you'll know these as something you know, something you have, something you are, and something that you do. And those still fit in to the Cisco model that I mentioned, and I just think the Cisco model a little bit more clear, really. Anyways, lots of services offer multi-factor authentication, right? Obviously, Apple and Google will use multi-factor authentication for your mobile device. But, you know, other services like Microsoft and Amazon and Facebook and Instagram and Snapchat and GitHub and all kinds, right, will let you set up multi-factor authentication. And you should definitely be doing that wherever it's available to you. It's simply more secure. It gives you a way to secure your account so that if your password, say, does get loose, there's another factor required to access your account. You know, it's not uncommon these days that systems get breached, passwords become known, rainbow tables are used to convert cracking problems to math problems. There's lots of ways that information can leak, right? Now, if you have a multi-factor authentication setup, even if somebody, for example, is able to figure out your password or gets a hold of your password somehow, without that second factor of authentication, they still can't access your account. So that's what saves you. And it's important to set up when you can. So hopefully that was interesting and something you might find useful in life. I'm not going to go over how you set up all of these authentication applications on your phone. There's plenty of websites and other resources you can use to look if you need step-by-step instructions. My goal here is just to make you aware of what multi-factor authentication is and to urge you to use it in any service that offers it, because it will secure your accounts. Alrighty, that is all I got for you today. Have yourself a great weekend.